Okay, I have a new challenge for us this month, August. Let's spend less time sitting at our desk and more time outside soaking up the sun. Let me explain. It starts with bringing AI powered tools like HubSpot CRM into your workflow because the latest research says that employees who use AI are already cutting time spent on manual tasks, things like pulling reports or summarizing data. They are cutting that time in half from 5 to 2.5 hours per day. You heard that right. And that adds up to almost 4 weeks a year. So you can do the math. Just saying that gives me this instant surge of energy. HubSpot's AI powered tools can help you work smarter, not harder, by streamlining how you do business, from research and strategy to content creation and optimization. Things like ChatSpot and Content Assistant are baked right into your HubSpot CRM, so you can whip up reports, get copy inspiration, pull data summaries, and much more with just a simple chat command. Tap into HubSpot to stop staring at your screen and start enjoying your summer PTO. Learn more and get started today at HubSpot.com. You're listening to Side Hustle Pro, the podcast that teaches you to build and grow your side hustle from passion project to profitable business. And I'm your host, Nicaila Matthews-Okome. So let's get started. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. It's Nicaila here, and today in the guest chair, I have Trina Small. Trina is a full-time lifestyle influencer and founder of Supermom Culture. She's based in Atlanta, Georgia, and her pursuit to amplify the voices of motherhood began a little over a decade ago through her blog, Hey Trina, which chronicles her life as a mom and continues to serve as inspiration to mothers globally, reminding them that moms can still live their best life in this motherhood journey. As a blogger and an influencer, Trina has worked with brands like Kohl's, Disney, Walmart, Verizon, and more. The saga continues with the inception of her streetwear brand, Supermom Culture, which you may have seen all over social media, especially in the last 2 years. I know I did, and I bought up as much as possible. So Supermom Culture is an extension of her blog and love for fashion, but most importantly, motherhood. Supermom recognizes the superpowers that each mother has inside of her. Motherhood is not about being perfect. It's about being super, in Trina's words, even in difficult situations. Supermom Culture is a global phenom that is gaining huge momentum. It's worn by your favorite influencers, and it has been featured on Good Morning America, The View, Black Enterprise, and Oprah Daily. I love my conversation with Trina. We had so much fun, as you will hear, so let's get right into it. Trina, welcome officially to the Side Hustle Pro guest chair.
Hey!
Thank you for being here. I'm really excited to chat with you. You're someone who I have admired from afar for a while. I have my Supermom gear. You know, when I became a mom, that was so just empowering for me to wear, like the hat, the t-shirt, all of that. And I need to know more about the woman behind the brand. So I understand that your initial career path was in logistics and with like trucking and trains. So tell me a little bit about that. How did you get into that? And how did that go?
Okay. All right. Well, I'm Trina. I am so happy to be here. I feel like I'm on Oprah because I've actually wanted to be on your podcast forever.
What?
So when I got the email, I was like, yay! Like, what a way to start the new year. So I'm super excited about that. And that just shows me what God has in store for me. So I'm very excited to be here. So yeah, my career path is, when I tell people what I did full time, I was 23 years old working on trucks. I wasn't physically working on trucks and trains, but I used to coordinate the trains. So I knew where they was going, where they was coming, and like what was on them. Like I did all of that. And then I went into trucking, just regular trucking. I dealt with cargo theft. I did all of that. So I was in a logistics career for about almost 15 years.
When did you start your blog as a side hustle, and why did you get into blogging?
So I started my blog as a side hustle when I had my oldest daughter, who's now 12. So she was about almost 1 year old when I started the blog, because I was always dressing her in cute stuff. And one day I was just like reading blogs. Of course, we're looking for information and stuff. And I saw this thing that was like free blog, and I just clicked on it. And then the rest is history. Here we are, like almost 12 years later, and I'm still blogging. And, we got Supermom now. We branched off. I got another child. Like, everything has happened in those years, but that's how I got started.
And you not only got started, but your blog took on a life of its own, right? So what was it called at the time? And what do you think contributed to it taking off? Was it you, your personality, or just what you were talking about?
Well, so yeah, the blog was called Baby Shopaholic because I was buying everything for my kid. Like, she had all the good
Relatable.
Burberry, like, you know how it is. You had that first kid. Now, my second one
Yep.
came out. I was like, girl, you wearing Garanimals from Walmart. I'm sorry. We ain't on that no more. But I started out just sharing, things that I bought for her, deals that I found,
Hmm.
my outfits. And when I started sharing my outfits, that's when it really started to take off. And, people like the kids' outfits, they got a lot of inspiration
Yes.
from my daughter. But then when I started sharing what I was wearing, trying to hide the fupas now, I had a C-section. I
Uh-huh.
wasn't back where I wanted to be, but I still wanted to be cute. So I started sharing my outfits and I just put it out there. And to tell you the truth, I don't even know how people found me because Instagram wasn't even a thing when I started blogging. I did have Facebook. I started that kind of like a couple years in. I started a Facebook page that did very well.
Okay.
And then Instagram came up. I was so scared of Instagram. I felt like I was like putting stuff out to the world, like, hello. So I did. So that was a little nerve wracking. So I was kind of slow to Instagram. I think Instagram probably had been around for a few years before I even got on it because I was so scared. So that's how I started. And yeah, people just kept coming and sharing. And I think I resonated with a lot of Black moms because when there's
Of
no
course.
Instagram, you would really read blogs every day. Like you would look at your feeder and go to each blog. And I would go and look, and there was no Black moms. So I was like, I want to see people that look like me, that got flavor and, having fun. Like everything was all about feeding your kids broccoli and homeschooling and all the stuff. And no hate, because I want that stuff too. But I like the whole
Yeah.
real deal. Like me and my girls went out, we went to this concert, we had a ball, da 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 da. Like
Yep.
people could relate. And I think that's what helped take Baby Shopaholic take off. But now that I don't have any babies, I have rebranded about 4 years, 3, 4 years ago to Hey Trina. So it's just more of a
Okay.
lifestyle brand because I had started getting more into decorating my home,
Yeah.
recipes. So it was just a full gamut on Hey
The
Trina.
whole like lifestyle content.
Yes,
Got you.
yes, more
You
lifestyle.
took me back to when I used to read all these blogs via Google Reader. I was so devastated when they got rid of Reader. I
Why would
mean,
they do
and you're
that?
right. Why would they do
I
that
would
before
still read
Instagram?
blogs if Google Reader was here. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that was how I kept up with all my girls. Like,
Yeah,
and you're right. Like, once you found a Black blog, you put it in there because you wanted to get all their updates in time.
right.
So you just took me
Yeah.
back to those were the good old days,
The good
and I
old
think that really
days.
helped blogging. That really helped blogs too because now you almost forget about people's content unless they're putting it in front of your face on Instagram, and we have to work so
Yeah.
much harder. Podcasts too. We have to
Yeah.
work so much harder to put it in people's faces.
Absolutely. And that's what I was saying. Like Google Reader, my page views were through the roof. They canceled Google
Yes.
Reader. I was like, where's everybody? Like nobody's coming anymore. And I know I don't
Like,
go to
guys,
those
I'm
blogs
posting.
either. So how do you keep up with
Hmm.
them? So yeah, that sucked.
Yeah. So you had to make a choice, though. At some point, you had to say, am I going to be a full time blogger, influencer, or continue with my logistics role, which you were killing it in?
Yeah.
Talk to us about how you made that decision to leave your corporate job. What went into that?
Okay. So like after maternity leave and all that stuff and the dust settled, my company had did a little restructuring. So I ended up with
Okay.
a team lead. I didn't like, you know how that goes. And so
I
it
know
was
how that
like,
goes.
oh, this is really kind of what happened. So again, I didn't like my team lead, but then I was featured in Atlantan magazine or Atlanta. I was actually in both, but there's an Atlantan and an Atlanta magazine, and they had like a whole page on me with my daughter talking about our blog. And one of the high level managers saw it, and he was like, "Trina, you're in this magazine." And I was like sitting at my cube, like,
Yes.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm working. I'll talk to you later, because I didn't really like, entertain. I didn't tell people what I did. I just would come to work, go home, and then I'd be blogging all on the internet. And then I would, I didn't do it at work, but then it started being like
Yeah.
every time they started watching me. So it was like, oh, is she blogging over there? Because they didn't even understand. They're like this.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, their whole fantasy football stuff is going off. They're like, is that Twitter on your computer? So it kind of got real, like, they was watching me. And then I had got an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity with McDonald's where they flew me to Chicago to do a video for them in their test kitchen in their corporate office. And I had the time off, but it was in the middle of the week. So I had to take like Tuesday
Uh-huh.
and Wednesday off to do this. And it was like, why are you taking a
Right.
Tuesday? And I'm like, y'all ain't supposed to ask me that. And I just left or whatever. I was like, I got my time. I'm off. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
So I went and
That's
stuff, and
it.
they were like, it was just really watching me. So then it came to a point where it was like, I can't take certain opportunities because I got this job. And I
Mm.
knew if I stayed with the job and let the blog go, that it would like crush me because the blog was such a big part of my life at this point. So that's why I had to make
Right.
the decision like, I'm gonna have to quit this job and I'm gonna have to figure it out. Like, even if I have to work
Right.
like retail hours so I can have the flexibility or something, I'm gonna have to do what I have to do. So then just got up, put a plan in place, started trying to pay off debt, paid off cars, and got to where it would make sense, as far as,
Okay.
replacing my salary. Now we don't have to pay for childcare at that point because she was still little. She wasn't in school full time. So we had to
Okay.
make that work. And then when I started crunching numbers, I had to get to it. I remember the first day too, when after I quit, I was like, so what are we doing now? Like, how does this blog thing
Let's
work?
get to work. Let's
Because
get to
I
work.
had never pitched the brand. All of everything came to me. So I
What?
was blessed that all the blog opportunities came directly to me and I didn't have to go look
Mhm.
for them. But when they don't come to you, it's like, what do you do? So I was like, well, let me just
Right.
keep creating content. So that's pretty much
Yes,
how that
yes. I'm
went.
glad you touched on making that plan and
Hmm.
paying down debt and, doing all those things that you need to do to just get prepared because sometimes it's not just about saving, it's about cutting. Well, it's always about cutting expenses
Right.
because you know that this entrepreneur lifestyle, it's not going to be as consistent as your 9 to 5 job. Now, at what stage did you start Supermom culture?
Okay, so Supermom culture has actually was brewing while I was doing the blog because I wanted something cute. I was very into fashion
Right?
and I wanted to do something, but I just didn't know what to do. And then I was like, everybody got a T-shirt. I'm not doing T-shirts. I just want fun that would represent that made us feel good that we could give to other people and things like that. So I was really trying my best not to do a shirt. I was like, everybody got a T-shirt, but I actually love T-shirts. But I was like, everybody got a T-shirt. So I started out doing like aprons and bags. I was selling aprons and bags. So I was like,
Aprons and bags. Oh, wow.
yes, yes,
Aprons.
aprons.
Who's wearing aprons?
I don't know what I was thinking, but it was cute because it says "Oh Kale" and all, and then
Oh,
one said
okay.
like "Fix It Jesus" and like meal prepping. It just had little fun stuff. So I
Uh-huh.
mean, they didn't do that good, but a few people
It
bought
was a
them. You know
start.
what I'm saying?
Okay. I
So
like that we talk about the start because you have
yeah,
to start
so this is the
somewhere.
start. So that's the initial store. It wasn't doing that well. The little reusable bags did good, and then I was like, you know what, bump it. I'm gonna do a T-shirt. Everybody else had a T-shirt. Now I'm like, everybody got a T-shirt. I'm just go ahead and do a T-shirt. So I had this white T-shirt. I took like an old white T-shirt, and I had this idea like I like Supreme, and I like the idea of it. So I was like, I was thinking like, what's something cool that moms can wear, but that would signify like, for moms. So I had looked at the Supreme brand, and that's kind of where I like, I kind of spoofed it a little bit. And I was like, I'm gonna just put mom in there because, like, we're Supreme, we're moms, and all this type of stuff. And I like had a friend, she helped me make the little block, and I cut it out on a piece of paper and just
Uh-huh.
laid it on a shirt. And I was like, to get the sizing right. So I was like, okay.
Uh-huh.
So then I went and got the vinyl cut and I just put it on a shirt. And then I wore it. My, at the time, 8-year-old daughter took pictures of me in the shirt right in front of our house.
Wow.
And I posted it. And it wasn't even called Supermom Culture. It was just Trina's Supermom shirts. Like that's what it was. So I ran it through
On
the
her
blog.
blog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I just ran it through the blog, and that's really how I started. Then it kind of took off as people bought it, and
Hmm.
so I had to do its own Instagram. I was fighting that because I was like, I'm not running two Instagrams. It's hard enough to keep up with one. Everybody's like, you
Uh-huh.
got to do it. You got to do it because everybody was wearing it and sharing it. But then
Yeah.
it's my platform that I'm still getting sponsored content. So it was hard to do both. Like I'm sharing somebody else.
Mm.
Then I'm like, people come to the page. They ain't going to know who page it is because I'm sharing everybody else and their Supermom stuff. And, so I was like, you know what? Let it live over there. And when I started a page, I was very intentional about it being about the moms. So that's why you don't
Okay.
see me all over the place. It's all the moms, the community of Supermom culture. Then I had to come up with a name. And then I was like, I don't know what to call it. I was going to call it Black Supermoms. I had all these different ideas. And I was like, you know what? This is a culture. It's a community. We just going to call it Super. I'm like, I'm not going to rack my brain. And then that's what I
Right.
did.
Overthink
And
it.
then, yeah. So that's how I went.
So you mentioned a few important things. Like first of all, you started where you were with what you
Yes.
have. The fact that you were literally doing a cutout by hand to get the sizing right. You weren't in Photoshop like tinkering around on your own. Like you really took this in your hands, and then got the vinyl cut made and all of that. But it started out with your own two hands, and
Yes.
you could have easily then jumped to, oh no, I need a website for this. I need to put it up here and there, but you tested it first, right? You shared it
Yes.
with your audience because you'd already done products and seen that, okay, those weren't a hit. So, so you made sure to prove the concept first. And then at what point did you realize though that, hey, these shirts are a hit? Like they're not just, were you selling like 10 a month, or was it when you said, okay, this is like, I'm getting 1,000 orders a month that I need to make a site for this?
It was a slow drip. So, I
Mhm.
put it out there and it was like, you would have thought that I had wagered like $1 million in Vegas because I was like, one shirt, I was like shaking, like, okay, I'm going to put this shirt out here for $25 and, whatever. And then somebody bought it. I was like, oh my God, they bought a shirt. So with that, $25, $30, I then went and
Mhm.
bought four more shirts,
Yep.
did the same thing. And then I just kind of upcycled because I really started everything. So even after I sold a couple shirts, I made like $500. And I took that $500. Then I went and ordered the vinyls already cut and ready to go
Mhm.
because I was heat pressing them myself at the time. So I had did that, and then I bought a heat press. That was just like a lot of money. I'm a stay-at-home mom. Things were slow when I started it. So I didn't have thousands of dollars to just throw in to see what happens. I'm very cautious about my overhead and, the investment because again, I don't want to go broke and like, dang, I don't spend all this money and I ain't sold but one shirt. So
Mhm.
I kind of just flipped up, flipped up, flipped up. And then, then I started getting 10 shirts a week. Then it went to 100 shirts a week. And then when it hit 100, I was like, oh, we got some. Let's do like we about to do this. And so after I started getting
Yep.
like to like 100 sales, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like this is something here. And then that's why, and it was only one shirt, one white t-shirt. I didn't have no hoodies, I didn't have nothing else. And then I just kept flipping it up, and then
Mhm.
thinking about other products that I could afford and things like that. And that's just kind of how it went for the first year. That's what I did.
One shirt. I love that as well, you guys. You hear that? Like one shirt, one SKU. If you're in the retail world, like one color, one product, so that you are not spending money on all of these different materials and people are only buying like one or two. Like you really
Yeah,
double down on that. I love that reminder.
yeah.
And also, how did you know that you wanted to heat press it versus, upload a file and have it drop shipped from a t-shirt printer?
So I'm a marketer in my background. I have a marketing degree. So I was very heavy on research, the school that I went to. So I'm
Hmm.
a big researcher. I'm gonna watch YouTube videos. Like I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole. I'm gonna watch
Yep.
YouTube videos. I went on those print to on demand places and stuff. And when I was breaking it down, I was like, I ain't gonna get nothing but $3, $4 if I sell a shirt. I was like, oh, heck no. I'm all about until I can't do it no more, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna keep going until it don't work. So
Yep.
I had went and did all that research, saw I don't make no money because, t-shirts are, it's very low. It's not like $1 million, you're not gonna break the
Right.
bank on one shirt. So I was like, you know what? If I can heat press them, because it was a lower quantity. So I was like, oh, I can
Hmm.
handle this. You know what I mean? And I had got up to where I was doing like 100 shirts a day by myself, like
Wow.
heat pressing them. Oh, girl, I was grinding, honey. That's the one thing I do.
Wow.
But I did all the research and I started
Huh.
doing that. And then I would go to the wholesaler and then people that were in the line, I don't have no problem talking to anybody. And I was like, so what do you do? How do you get this? People started sharing. He was like, "Oh, I have a vinyl place that I get the vinyl cut." I was like, "Oh, what's that name again?" And then I go research that, and that's really
Mhm.
kind of how I got to where I don't do that anymore, but that's how I started, and that was a good like budget friendly way to get started.
Thank you for sharing that. So I hope that encourages someone who is thinking of something, or you just have this really powerful slogan or phrase that you know would kill on a t-shirt, but you're like, oh,
I'm
t-shirts
sure.
don't make any money. There's a way to do it, because you're right. When you do look at those sites, you're like, oh, I'm not going to make anything if I do it
Right.
this way.
Yeah.
And yes and no, like volume,
Right.
times a lower margin. You can keep that in consideration.
Hmm.
You can consider, what your bandwidth is and what kind of space you have at home to do this. So I like
Right.
that we're sharing options, because that's
Yes.
what we need to know about, like the options that are out there. How did you handle quality control? Because I know my hand is crooked. That's one reason why I don't do no DIY anything. Like, I cannot
Girl.
give you no straight line.
So I love DIY. So I'm a DIYer. That's how I was like doing all this stuff because I was like, I was very DIY. But let me tell you, girl, when I say I was sweating, like trying to line them up, because I was
I
like,
can imagine.
Don't mess up this shirt. Don't mess up this shirt. Like I ain't this the last one you got left. Like don't mess it up. Cause girl, I had some shirts. The vinyl, I didn't press it. The heat wasn't high enough. Girl, it was a hot mess. So it was a lot of trial and error, and you have to make a little budget for that. Even if you take an old kid shirt or something, just take it and figure it out that you can discard if it doesn't work out just to get ready for it. But I use a lot of measuring rulers. I got rulers everywhere. I still use a ruler. Sometimes I have to do an emergency shirt, for somebody like I need this or that. I want to use it for this shoot. And then I'll like make one real quick if I don't have one on hand because now I have a warehouse. So I have a lot of stuff in the warehouse. So I don't have a lot of stuff on hand. But if somebody needs one, I need to get it to them. It's easier for me to just do it.
Ooh, okay. You mentioned warehouse. Now we have to know, what was that transition like? So how long did it take you to go from Trina making shirts herself to getting a warehouse? What was that process like? And when did you decide you were ready for that?
Well, I almost didn't decide what they say. I didn't choose the game chose me. So
Good
that
problems, demand. Yeah.
yes. So that's kind of how it happened. So a little over a year into Supermom culture, the pandemic started, right? So
Ah,
then the shirts
yes.
blew up. We did like a viral video. That's where everybody started doing the reels. Like reels were kind of in and TikTok and all that stuff. So a video went viral and then like the sales just went crazy. But I'm like home and I'm like, oh my God, like everything's closed. I gotta get these shirts. So that's how it went. So I was still doing everything myself at this point, but we were moving
Wow.
a lot of shirts. Like
Hmm.
it was hundreds a week at least, starting
Yeah.
off, which was like big for me, but I think probably even more than that, a few hundred, I should say. And then
Uh-huh.
out of the blue, I get this email from this woman that says, hey, I like Supermom and I bought some stuff or whatever. Have you ever thought about going on Good Morning America? And I was like, what you talking about, Will? Like, who are you? Why are you playing in my computer or whatever? So we set up a call. We talked to her. She was like, yeah, I do this. Da, 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 da. I was like, are you serious? Like the whole time I was like, are you serious right now? She's like, yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, well, I'm going to take this to them and then I'll get back to you. So I'm sitting here like, okay, like, what does that mean? So
Wow.
then she comes back like a couple weeks later. She was like, they love you. They want you to go on this date. We need 10,000 shirts. Blah, 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 blah. I'm sitting in my guest bedroom with 300 shirts in it packed. I was like 10 with three zeros. Like, I'm like, let me understand what you're saying here. So
Right.
she said that. I was like, yeah, that's not going to fit in my house. And yeah, I can't do that by myself. So I'm like over here. So now I'm scrambling. I'm like calling everybody. I call my friend that she has a screen print. I'm just calling everybody. I was like, I don't know what to do. And, I was like, let's figure it out, write notes and stuff like that. So they was like, okay, you need this, you need millions of dollars in insurance, blah, 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 blah. Contract came over to ABC. I was like, yo, this is crazy. So then like people guided me to where I am now. So it's not my 100% warehouse, it's a fulfillment. So I have my own little
Okay.
section in the warehouse, and then they do all my shipping and receiving for me. So I went to them and I had a meeting with them. I was like, look, I don't know what's going on, but we got to push all these orders out when we go on GMA. And they was like, we down, we done them before. So they had worked with some
Wow.
other black owned brands. So this is the black owned
Hmm.
warehouse too. So they work with other black owned brands. So they were familiar with the process and stuff. So I was like, oh, good. So now I got to get these shirts. I had truckloads of t-shirts coming. Girl, it was crazy. I was like, are you
What?
serious? So that's how I was pushed into the warehouse. Like I had no other option.
I'm sweating just hearing that story. The Product Boss, hosted by Jacqueline Snyder and Mina Kulno-Sitep, is brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. Take your physical product sales and strategy to the next level to create your dream life with hosts Jacqueline and Mina as they deliver a workshop-style strategy hour of social media and marketing strategies so you can up level as the boss of your business. So I just finished listening to their latest episode. It's called Keep Your Day Job, Grow Your Product-Based Business. And it's all about how to maintain your full-time job while growing your product-based business on the side. So, of course, I know you side hustlers are interested in this, and it's a really good episode, 20-minute listen. So definitely check it out. Listen to The Product Boss wherever you get your podcasts. What does that look like from a financial perspective? That's the part that usually kind of makes me jitter a little bit. It's like, you have an upfront financial investment to make
Yes.
to fulfill these orders, even though you're about to make a lot of money. How does that even out? And then do you surpass that? Or is it just one of those things where you kind of break even, but you get these returning customers?
Right. So when I got the call, they talking about 10,000 shirts. I'm like, shoot, I have enough time buying 100 out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? So what was crazy was I always tell people it wasn't nothing but God. Like he just guided me through. Because I told you I blew up and we were selling hundreds. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, so the money was coming in and God told me, don't spend that money, girl. Don't you spend that money because I'm ready to go get a Gucci bag, go to Hawaii. Like, I was like, oh, we got some extra money because I was struggling. I was a stay-at-home mom, so we were on a tight budget because I was like, I ain't going back to work. So I was like, I'm going to make this budget work. So I'm like, but God was like, don't spend that money. So I was just letting it stack into the account. And then I got the call. So guess what? I got the money.
Yep.
Because I didn't know anything about, like, nobody was giving grants, the whole Black Lives Matter and, the tears of people trying to help Black people businesses.
Right.
That was the thing right then. So nobody was giving you anything. I think I got like a PayPal, like working capital thing. It probably was $5,000. But girl, a truckload of t-shirts cost me wholesale was $25,000. So yeah, every little bit helps. But I was able to take those little bits here and there. And then, of course, still trying to sell to keep the money coming in to fund going on Good Morning America. But Good Morning America, when I went on, it ended up being a hit. You don't make a whole lot of money. I always tell people it's more of a marketing because now people call me like if they get the email to go on, they're like, Trina, so tell me the tea. And I'm like, listen, it's not a money grab. It seems like it is, but it's exposure. I mean, you're on a national stage. Who doesn't want to be on there? But I was like, you really got to have your numbers tight. And that was the hardest part because, there was mistakes and moving stuff. Now you're talking about 10,000 shirts. Who folding these shirts? Who folding? I had to have a whole crew for a week to fold all of these shirts. Like I had 3 people, 4 days from like 10 because I was trying to get budget friendly people. So they were strolling in at 10 and 11. And they like, I got to leave.
Where did you find these people? Like,
I had reached out to a friend that was like kind of young. And I was like, you got some home? Because it's the pandemic. A lot of people weren't working. So she was able to rally up a couple people for me. And I paid them like $15 an hour. Like I said, they strolled in. I cashed at them at the end of the day. They may came back the next day and they may not, But I was like, look, we just got to fold the shirts. I would fold shirts. My daughter was folding shirts. everybody was folding shirts. And I was recruiting my girlfriends because, they still were working. So I was like, if
Mhm.
you off or on
Yep.
a Saturday, let's go
Right.
fold some shirts and I bring
Yes.
wine. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what we were doing. And
Wow.
it was just a whole community project. So we was just getting it done. Cause you don't think about all the little stuff that is needed to pull this
Yep.
off. And I
Right.
tell you,
Like,
it's a big undertaking to go in there, but I'm gonna tell you, it was almost like a boot camp. Like they got me together. It's like I got a master's degree. It was like I got the warehouse because of them. I got business insurance because of them. All my LLCs or my S corps because of them. I got Duns and Bradstreet. Like I had to level up. And I hate doing admin stuff, but it forced me to get my stuff together. So like I got trademarks because of them, because I was like, okay, we're gonna be on here. I gotta get these trademarks filed. Like
yep.
I was doing all this stuff because I was like bootleg entrepreneur, just sitting back selling shirts. You know what I'm saying? No real website, no name. Like I was just out there grinding. I was just like, hey, if it stick, it stick. Like, I was
But you
just
have
rolling.
to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. And I want everybody to talk about this honestly. Like, I think everyone thinks everyone else is more buttoned up than they are. And then that stops you from acting because you're like, oh, I need to do this. I need to do that. They did that. Oh, they're so smart. They knew to do that. And they did it. And it comes as you grow. And that's okay. That's all right.
Yes. I'm telling you, I am the poster child of grinding and thugging it out in business. Cause if you would have seen some of the stuff that I was doing, like I said, she was 8 or 9. So when the pandemic started, she was 9. She was packing the orders and was getting them right too. So she got a whole lesson. We were shipping 100 orders a day. And she was the one that was in charge of getting the
Wow.
sizes right.
I
Like she
love
took
that
the extra,
exposure that she's
put it in
getting.
there, put the letter on it, and then she was checking me. She was like, this ain't right. This one says this,
Wow.
and she was getting it. So she got a hold. So she knows how to run a business pretty much because she was right there with me in the thick of it.
If you were to start over again, though, I know that we talk about like you can learn as you go. Like you don't need to, when you start out, have everything buttoned up like LLC trademark. It's almost impossible too, because number one, you don't even know if you're going to use that trademark unless you actually start doing it. So,
Right.
what are a couple of things though that you wish you had done sooner?
I probably would have like maybe had sold some things if money was tight to bring more money in because I worked way harder than I should have. There was things that I couldn't do now that I'm like, it really wasn't that much, but back then, $25 on something felt like a lot, at the time. So I'm like, I could have sold one of my old bags or something and bought a better machine or things like that. So I probably would have did that, just button up a little bit tighter. But to tell you the truth, I wouldn't change anything else with the process of everything that I did. Like, I don't need to go straight
Hmm.
to a warehouse. Even now, I'm contemplating. Sometimes I go back and forth. Like, do I just need to get my own little section and do the shipping myself when times are slow?
Mm.
But then when they
Hmm.
pick up, then I'm like, man, where's the warehouse at? I need
Hmm.
them. So things
Got
like
it.
that. I think it's a journey, and you just learn so much. So now you can't stop me because I don't went through everything. Like we good.
Hmm.
I'm problem solving and everything like that. So I just take those as all lessons. I don't feel like, like, man, I really screwed up here. Yeah, I lost money on stuff. I would have tightened up on certain things, but it's all a learning curve. So now I'm like doing
Yes.
this stuff in my sleep. So I've been on Good Morning America 2 more times and The View.
Nice.
And I might be on
Nice.
there again.
Yay! So,
I don't know when
what?
this is going to air, so we'll know.
Right, right. This is airing this month, y'all. This is January, kicking off the year. New year, new
Okay.
blessings. Okay.
Look out for
Now,
your girl.
you have had so many different products since that initial t shirt. So, tell us about how you know when to introduce a new product.
Whew, girl, now that's a hard part. So you put it out there like I don't really do sneak peeks. I like the element of surprise. But there were some things that didn't go well. I had got all these bucket hats made, and then I posted them. That thing got like 12 likes. I was like, dang, okay,
Oh,
now they filling the bucket hat. You know what I'm saying? Nobody compared it. Okay, because normally people be like, oh, Trina got the new sweatsuit. These things is
God. I
hot.
could have told you that.
Girl, but I thought the bucket hat was cool. Everybody else wearing bucket hats. Why can't we wear bucket hats? Because I was thinking like beach or something. I was like, you know what? Y'all right. Y'all don't want to look like LL Cool J. It's all good. So, Scrap that. I got a bucket. If you want a bucket hat, I'll send you one. I
Yeah,
still,
yeah.
I still got them. But so it's like you just put it out there, and I'll start with now. The sweatsuits is definitely a gamble because they're
Hmm.
expensive. I get them manufactured overseas,
Oh,
and
wow.
even just the sample. And I will say
Mhm.
that if you're doing anything overseas with a manufacturer, always get samples. I don't care if that one sample costs you $500 or $1,000. I'm so serious. Get a sample.
Yeah.
I had a
Okay.
whole run after they done made me thousands of sweatsuits. I had a whole new one coming out. And when I tell you they jacked the whole shipment up, I was
Wow.
devastated. And I had samples.
Yeah.
But it was only because I had bought thousands from them that they redid them. But now I'm another 30 days out because they
Mm.
jacked them up. So always get samples. And this was a manufacturer that and I had even gotten two or three of the one that I presented. I had already
Right.
had it because I took a photo shoot and I was
Wow.
like, okay, this is it. This is the one we're going to keep going with. Did a photo shoot and everything. And then they'll get the whole shipment. Girl, Supermom looked like my 7-year-old wrote it on the shirt. I was like,
Wow.
who have you here? Like, y'all knew better. Y'all knew better when
That's
y'all folded
stressful.
these things.
That's
So
stressful.
that worked out. But, again, it's a lesson too. Like, how do you do that? Put enough time in just in case you get
Hmm.
a shipment. Now I go through, we inspect everything and make sure, like, I went
Mm.
through the whole thing. So, definitely do that. You got to get samples.
Let's talk a little bit more about the money piece for a second before we go into the lightning round. We always share here that a lot of people lose money in the first few years of your business. A lot of times you're breaking even or you're just making enough to reinvest in your business. The profit piece isn't always a given when you start this business. So what has been your experience with that?
I done did it all. So when I was doing everything myself, of course, because I was the workhorse, I was seeing the money kind of pile up. And that was the
Right.
money that I reinvested to go on Good Morning America. And then the money I made from Good Morning America, I reinvested and started buying the sweatsuits and getting those manufactured. So
Hmm.
I've been basically reinvested. So your girl ain't got nothing. Okay. I ain't paid myself, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I just wear my clothes. But it's a gamble. Like it's hard. It's
Hmm.
hard to get to that point where you're really making that kind of money that you can really pull out for yourself and live a certain type of lifestyle because it's all a grind and you want to be mindful of the future and like what if things don't sell because Black Lives Matter, everybody's sales were crazy, but then now it's not there no more, so now we got to go back and kind of reinvent the wheel. And then when I went on the View, I had added more products that I let them promote on the View, but that it didn't do as well as it did when I went on GMA.
Hmm.
So I had to take a big L on that because I had like
Wow.
a couple thousand fanny packs. I didn't sell all of them. And they were, they came out of manufactured. So that was like a hit that I took and, things like that. So you just have to be ready for that. It's all a gamble, but again, just reinvesting and, making sure you can pile it up when you start getting it. Don't go out and spend it right away. Just
Yep.
pile it up so you'll be ready for that. Then I did Supermom weekend, which was amazing, and I hope to do it
Ooh.
again. Um,
What was
that was
that?
my first. I did it last year, last February.
Okay. Is it like a conference?
Yeah, so it was like a whole weekend. It
Oh.
was just Mom's Gone Wild. It was so much fun. It was.
Okay.
I'll send you the
Schedules
link
that
of the
into my
replay.
calendar.
Yeah, so I'm trying to do it again. I had a crazy year, so I'm
Uh-huh.
back, and we're gonna get it together and stuff like that. So I'm just in talks with
Yeah,
sponsors and
take your
stuff.
time. Take your
Yeah, but
time. Yeah.
that was a lot because it's like my name is on it. And one thing I'm not going to do is half do something. And, and I think that's important too. You don't want to put something out there. You want it done right. Like you can do it scrappy, but just give it 100%. Like you got to put forth the effort. You can't just be like, this shirt is crooked, like Superman, like this, and I'm going to just ship it out. No, my name is, it's connected to me. So I'm not going to do that. So when I did Superman weekend, it was important for all the moms to have a certain level of experience, even if it was off of my pocket. So I'm, flying people in. I'm getting this. I want to make sure these goodie bags and stuff. Like when people didn't come in, they were like, "Oh, I only can send you this many." I'm like, I'm gonna buy the rest because I want it to be a whole experience. I want everybody to
Right.
have what we're giving them. I don't want half the bags to have this and half the bag. I'll just pay you for the rest of them. Like I was doing stuff like that because I just wanted to be a full blown experience. And if they were like, "Oh, we need an extra," person serving so it'll go off right and things like that. So I just was like, I mean, I was bleeding money at this point. I was like, I don't even care no more. Just make it good, because I
Yep,
wanted that
yep.
experience. People spend a lot of money to get here, a lot of money,
Hmm.
to be in the building. And I just wanted them to get the experience that they deserved.
That's why I haven't done another live event yet. Because I'm like, I too just want I'm like, no, I'm flying you in. I'm paying for this. You're getting
Yeah,
this. And so it is a whole beast.
it
But
is.
that's exciting. We'll keep our eye out for the next one because that sounds really, really
Yes.
good.
Oh my God,
And
it
we
was
know,
amazing.
well, if you don't know Trina, if you follow her on Instagram, you see that she's very fun. Like I want to be your friend. I want to go party with you.
Look, I hate to say it, not to toot my own horn, but I'm a vibe. Like I'm always gonna have a good
You seem like a vibe. I remember you posted some story. I think you lost your phone in an Uber. I'm like, now we're not supposed to still be losing our phones.
dude. I'm a girl. I'm 40 something years old, losing my phone in the Uber. I get mad at my daughter for leaving her phone
Oh
somewhere, and here I am
my
doing the same
God.
thing. You know what I'm
So
saying? I'm gonna grow up one day.
all right. So before we get into the lightning round, I want to know how you handle the emotions and the mental piece of entrepreneurship of, like you said, like having high seasons, having low seasons. Like some people might be expecting, oh, you did this and that. You must be balling now. You're living in a mansion. You doing this, you doing that. Like, how do you deal with the reality of entrepreneurship, staying in your lane, and the highs and the lows?
It's hard, but I think the biggest thing for me is just having that mustard seed faith. Like you just have to have faith. I did it before. I can do it again. You know what I mean? It's experience. I know how to do
Yep.
this. I know how to ride a bike, so I can continue to ride a bike. I might have to
Yep.
practice a little bit. And so I kind of do it like that because it is hard. You're all over the place. You seeing everybody else with success. I'm not a jealous person and I like to
Hmm.
celebrate other people, but you do be like sometimes like, man, I just need something to pop or hit again. You know what I mean? Because I got all this going on. I'm a newly single mom, so I got a lot on my shoulders now. Like I can't play no games anymore. Like this is
Hmm.
real life. Like I got to get to the bag. But I just have to have faith. God provided for me before. He's going to do it again. So I just really have strong faith and knowing that things are going to work out. And that's kind of how I move. And then speaking of working out really helped me a lot because it's like you work out, you're able to clear your mind, and you feel strong and you feel like you can really take on stuff. I don't know what it was, but I feel like working out in conjunction, as busy as I was, I would go to the warehouse after the gym. Like I was crazy. Like I gotta work out. And it got me in my mind right. Like, let's fight. Like we got it. Like we can do this. And I would just keep on going with my day. So that was a big thing that helped me out too.
And one thing we didn't get to touch on as much, but I do want to just mention that you have had such a smart approach to marketing your business. Like you said, it comes from your years of experience as a marketer. But the thing you focused on first was building that audience. And I just want to remind everybody that it's a lot. Easy is such a complicated word because nothing is easy. But
Yeah.
when you focus on building your audience and community first, it is more natural and organic when you start to introduce whatever you decide to sell. So,
Yeah.
can you talk a little bit about the audience building piece and your approach to that? Was it intentional? Did you never know that you would end up selling things?
It wasn't intentional, but me being I'm a sociable person, so that's all I know how to do. I know how to talk to people, communicate. Like I said, I'm gonna have a good time. I'm gonna bring you in. I want everybody around me to have a good time. You know what I mean? Because if I see somebody, I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like I speak to people. That's my personality, and I guess it translated with the blog, so I was able to connect with the followers on a different level. Like they felt like they knew me,
Yeah.
and community. And then I think a lot of businesses, what you can't be scared to talk to your customers. People are
Yes.
scared to talk to their customers. Ask them
Yes.
questions. Like, what did you like? If somebody is like upset about something, I'd be like, oh, hold up, sis. Like, now tell me. So what do you think that I could do better next time? And then they they let it off and then they feel seen. And even though they might have had one bad experience, they back because I took care of them. I listened to them. I don't do that no more because there were some people that
Yeah,
I'm like,
I was about to say that sounds a little toxic.
that, look, so I got out of that. But when I was doing it, that's what I did.
Yes.
So, but you
Yes.
got to listen to your people. They tell you everything that they want. Like people are like,
Hmm.
you don't know how many messages I'm getting about Supermom weekend. So I know they want it. And the biggest feedback, I asked them for their feedback after Supermom weekend. Everybody else said, please do this every year, twice a year if you can.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Another day. People are in my DMs now like, are you doing it this year? Because I need to put it on my calendar. You know what I'm saying? So they're telling me that they want it. So I got to give the people what they want.
Yeah.
Something's happening.
So listening to your audience and creating content, you guys. So before you know what it is you want to sell or create a business around in the future, start with just sharing. Start with just creating content around what you like, what you do, because it will get you far. I'm a testament of that. Trina's a testament of that. So please, this is your sign to create content in 2023.
Yes. I mean, tell you the truth, I can't sing, I can't dance. Nothing life-changing about me. You know what I'm saying? Groundbreaking. Ain't Beyonce. I'm just a black girl from Chicago on the internet talking crazy and talking to the people and putting Supermom on stuff. Like, seriously, we all can do it. We all can do it.
So with that, let's officially get into the lightning round. So you know the deal already. You just answer the very first thing that comes to mind. All right. Number one, what is a resource that has helped you in your business that you can share with the Side Hustle Pro audience?
Canva.
Number two, who is a non-celebrity Black woman entrepreneur who you admire and why?
Girl, so many. You. It's too many to name. I know people that have went through trials. So Chantel or Play Pits, I know she's been on here, and Tiffany from Latch to Hook. Those two, the perseverance they have is incredible. Follow them. Oh my God,
amazing.
Number
women. Three, what's a non-negotiable part of your day?
Working out. I try to schedule around my workouts. You know, I want to be cute.
Yeah,
I'm single.
Number four, what's a personal habit that has helped you significantly in your business?
I think running my mouth. I think finishing or focusing on one thing and getting it done.
And then finally, number five, what is your parting advice for fellow women entrepreneurs who want to do their own thing and be their own boss, but are worried about losing their steady paycheck?
Just jump off the cliff. You got to. I know that sounds scary, but you got to do it. You're going to be okay. Like, that's where that faith comes in. Now, don't do it. I mean, do it while a side hustle, but just do it. Just start. Stop. I can't stand when people are like, oh, I got to get this website. Like you were saying, I got to do this. I got to get an LLC, a trademark. What if I trademark Baby Shopaholic? I ain't done Baby Shopaholic in a long time. Now we trademarking stuff, the stuff that sticks. You know what I mean? You'll know when it's time. So
you'll know when it's time. Do it. That's it, y'all. That's it. I'm not going to add anything else to that. That's it. Trina, thank you so much for being in the guest chair. Where can people connect with you and Supermom Culture after this episode?
Okay, so you can follow us on Instagram. It's Supermom Culture. It's so fun over there at Supermom Culture. My personal blog is at Hey Trina Small, and the website is supermomculture.com. and at heytrina.com.
And I will link to all of those in the show notes. So there you have it. And with that, I'll talk to you next week. Hey guys, thanks for listening to Side Hustle Pro. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. It helps other side hustlers just like you to find the show. And if you want to hear more from me, you can follow me on Instagram at Side Hustle Pro. Plus, sign up for my 6-bullet Saturday newsletter at sidehustlepro.co/newsletter. When you sign up, you will receive weekly nuggets from me, including what I'm up to, personal lessons, and my business tip of the week. Again, that's sidehustlepro.co/newsletter to sign up. Talk to you soon.